Do you like being stealthy, but wish you could actually sneak attack with a two-handed weapon? Well, now you can. Welcome to my two-handed weapon version of the Assassin Gloomstalker. Okay guys, it is time to talk about leveling up for this build. To start off, you will be using the Elixir of Giant Hill Strength. That elixir will give you 21 strength and it lasts until your next long rest. You can easily farm it in Act 1. Anti-Ethel sells 3 per long rest. You can literally buy them or pickpocket, rest, get them again. In the Mushroom Colony, there is a vendor down there that also sells them. Stock up on them ASAP. They are super useful. There was a comment in one of my previous videos that mentioned how easy it is to farm, and with that you can really spread your points around so much more, and it opens up way more build diversity in my opinion. This is my stat spread. If you have the +1 to stats that you get from the Witch in Act 1, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can, instead of going 16 dexterity, drop points in wisdom, get this up to 17. That way you can get your dexterity to max without the need of anything in the game. This character does not have that privilege, so I kept my stats like this. You will not gain any increased stats whatsoever as this build because I go and use the elixir to get myself to 21 strength. So keep that in mind. I instead choose to use feats to increase my damage in combat. So you start out as a ranger. I go bounty hunter. And I go urban tracker. I like this just because it gives me sleight of hand. Bounty hunter is nice because it does help out when I use ensnaring strike. I don't use it that often. However, when I do need to use it, it's nice to have that additional little bit of disadvantage on their saving throws for the enemy. When it comes to your skill proficiencies, pick whatever the hell you want here. It doesn't really matter. My suggestions would definitely be perception and stealth. Stealth really helps out for getting the opening on enemies. You really need to surprise enemies as this build to get buku damage. Like, your damage is really, really high if you do get the jump on enemies. Especially if you know you are going in combat and someone like preemptively gives you bless or haste, then you're really going to destroy in the opening of the game. But it's really up to you. Pick what you want. Okay. So you are going to be going Ranger 5. So spells, pick what you want. Suggestions would definitely be Longstrider. This will count as a ritual spell, so you can use this outside of combat to give yourself 10 feet increased movement speed at all times, and it lasts until your next long rest. Definitely pick that for sure. Anything else is up to you. Ensnaring strike is pretty decent. So is Hunter's Mark. Enhanced Sleep is another ritual spell, and so is Speak of Animals. Pick what you want here. Fighting style, I am going with defense to get the +1 AC. As a ranger, you don't have great weapon fighting style in order to increase your attack rolls, but that's okay because you can get that later. Okay, so subclass, no surprise, Gloomstalker. This is going to give you the extra initiative at the start of combat, extra movement speed, along with an extra attack. If you already have dark vision, it increases it even further. If not, it gives you dark vision. You gain the ability to hide as a bonus action, and Umbral Shroud, you can use it once per short rest to make yourself literally go invisible. And it gives you Disguise Self if you happen to need that for anything. Spell-wise, pick whatever you didn't pick before. Okay, Burst Feet. Again, if you did have the extra ability improvement from Auntie Ethel, and you got your dexterity now to 18, use your ability improvement to get that maxed. If you don't, like me for this character, or you're playing with friends and they chose to get it on one of their characters, I would say a great alternative would A, be your Savage Attacker. This thing is great. It's just going to constantly re-roll your damage and always give you the higher one. This is fantastic because it does affect weapon attacks as well. So like any type of additional damage when it's like, say you like fire damage from gloves and things like that, this will be affected by it, assuming it's with melee attacks. Savage Attacker is really nice. Of course, great Weapon Master, hands down, really, really great, and the bread and butter of this build. Extra damage, because you crit on all your openers, you'll always get the bonus melee attack. It's really nice. Alright, level 5 Ranger, you unlock level 2 spell slots, which is nice because that also gives you Misty Step, which is a great alternative in order to, instead of using dash to move around combat, you can now just teleport. You get your extra attack as well. Spell-wise, pick whatever you want. Silence is decent. It's a concentration spell, keep that in mind. Same with Spike Growth, concentration spell, but this is really great for area denial. Pick whatever you want here. Those are the two I would pick from level 2 spell slots though, but pick whatever you think is going to be the best served for your group. Okay, so once you hit level 6, you can start the multi-class. If you wanted to go fighter to get action surge now, you might as well. If not, I would say go rogue at least 4 levels to get your extra feat. So rogue is going to give you sneak attack damage, which is nice because it's just free damage when you do sneak attacks. And it will give you additional abilities that you can put in whatever you want. I would definitely say perception is really great. Athletics is another really good one to have. If you're going to plan to be like sneaky and steal for your team, sleight of hand, pick what you want. Level 2, you get your bonus stuff to hide, disengage, and dash. Okay, here's where the builds, normally if you watched my previous videos, you know I'm a big fan of having 2 bonus actions, but for this build specifically, we're going Assassin. You are going to chunk people in your openers. You will absolutely destroy. It's really, really great. And don't worry, there are some finesse weapons you can use of Great Weapon Master even at the very beginning of the game and will still benefit from sneak attack damage, which is really nice. So you are going Assassin. Break it down, bam. You have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn yet. Fantastic. Attack rolls against any surprise creature is a 100% guaranteed critical. And if you are a half-orc like I am in this build video here, you get even more crit damage. And you get Assassin's Alacrity. Bam. Really, really great because you will immediately restore your action and bonus action at the start of combat. So not only will you get to use an action to open up, you get your stuff restored right away as well, which is really, really awesome. Okay, your new feat. Again, we already talked about what to do for feats. For this build here, I am going Savage Attacker. Alright, so at level 10, you can choose to be Rogue level 5, which will give you Uncanny Dodge, which is amazing. This is a reaction that literally just makes you take half damage. You can use it once per turn. This is really, really fantastic. And if you know you're going to get hit by multiple enemies, I would save this for when you know you're going to get hit harder. Especially if like someone's using a two-hander versus like a one-hander, you may want to save it for the two-hander, but this is a lifesaver. Definitely want to get that. Alright, your last 2 levels are actually going to be in fighter, and here's why. A, you get great weapon fighting, so if for whatever reason you rolled a 1 or a 2 with your savage attack rerolls, this will re-roll it again and hopefully not roll a 1 or a 2 again. And it's also the only thing you could use other than archery because you already have defense. So I think this is a better choice. But if you do plan to use the bow a little bit, archery wouldn't be a bad choice. But it's also because of Action Surge. You want to blow your cooldowns at the start of combat because you get the guaranteed criticals. Action Surge is going to allow you to do that. Not only will you get the free attack from Dread Ambusher, because of extra attack you get 2 extra attacks. Because you crit with Great Weapon Master, you get another attack, so that's 4 attacks. And now, with Action Surge, you get 2 more attacks, so that is 6 attacks, and all 6 attacks are a 100% chance to crit if you get the drop on the enemy. Alright guys, let's go ahead and talk about gear real quick. So before we start breaking down everything, I do want to say the endgame weapon you're going to use is the Dancing Breeze. You can get this literally as soon as you get into Act 3 from the vendor. This same vendor will also sell a pair of gloves you may want to possibly use called the Stalker Gloves, which give you +1 initiative, and sneak attack damage will do additional 1d4 force damage, which is pretty nice. And I'll show on screen now where to get that from. However, if you are leveling up, another great weapon you can use is going to be this longsword right here. Because it is a finesse longsword, you can wield it and get sneak attack damage still, which would be really great, and has a great action. The melody here is amazing, really great. You can get this in Act 1 from the Underdark by pulling it out of the stone as soon as you get to the Underdark pretty much from the Goblin Camp. Really great, and this will last you all the way until Act 3. It's that good. When it comes to ranged weapons aren't going to be used all that often with this build. You do want to be in close melee combat, but the Deadshot is a great bow you can use. Straight up just gives you increased critical chance when using it, which is a nice thing. You don't have to use this, really. You can use any kind of bow here that you would want as long as it's a ranged weapon. That being said, you do get this in Act 3 from a vendor, and it's pretty nice. When it comes to accessories, let's break these down. The neck piece you get from Act 2. The boss from the House of Healing drops this. This is nice just to set up the guaranteed paralyze on kill targets. You are an assassin, so you do want to get the jump on people to get the guaranteed criticals. This just adds even more to that because when you crit, you can choose to paralyze a target. If you don't use this, a great alternative would be the Amulet of Misty Step. That way you don't have to use a spell slot on Misty Step. Really, pick whatever you want for that section. Caustic Band is just +2 acidic damage, free damage on your attacks, so why not use it? Act 1, Underdark, inside the Mushroom Colony, the female dwarf sells this. I like using the Eversight ring so I can't be blinded. This comes from the Morgue inside Act 2. However, a great alternative to this is going to be a ring that gives you advantage at all times, the Risky ring. Inside Moonrise Towers, there is a vendor that will sell this. Keep in mind, you have disadvantage on saving throws, but you will have advantage on every single attack you do. So you will roll 2 dice and it will always pick the higher dice when rolling for damage. This is great because you need advantage in order to get your sneak attack damage off, which is 3d6 as this build. So you can pretty much guarantee anytime you want to sneak attack damage, you can choose to do that with this ring. So another great ring to have. When it comes to your actual gear itself, Act 1 in that same Mushroom Colony that you get the Caustic Band from, you can get this helm. You need to do the quest chain to get it, or you can Misty Step behind like the little root wall, I guess you could say. This is great because this gives you an ability to straight up go invisible for 2 turns per short rest. This is a great item to use if you want to get the jump on someone to really get that big surprise damage. Alternative, you could use the Dark Justiciar's helm that you get from Act 2 in the Gauntlet of Shar. Up to you. Inside Last Lights In, there will be a vendor, Quartermaster Tally, that sells the Cloak of Protection. This straight up just gives you +1 AC and +1 saving throws. If you don't want to use this, there's a vendor in Act 3 that sells the Shade Slayer Cloak, which will give you increased chance to crit, assuming you are hiding. I don't think it's needed because you get your guaranteed crits on opening, so I like the Cloak of Protection better. My chest piece comes from Damon in Act 3. I think it's cool looking. It reminds me of armor that you get inside Bloodborne and the Raptor armor that you get inside Elden Ring. Pretty cool looking. I like it. The gloves also come from Damon in Act 3. This just gives you +2 damage and +2 chance to hit, which is nice. This will help negate the -5 that you have from Great Weapon Master All In, so definitely worth. Mattis in Act 2 and Last Lights In will sell you the evasive shoes. This gives you +1 AC, which is why I'm using it. You could use Boots of Persistence from Damon. However, I don't think these are worth it. Because you have ritual spells, Longstrider, you can already give yourself the Longstrider that comes with these boots and they don't stack. So, in my opinion, save those other boots for someone else that needs the movement. You could go with the Nightwalkers. These are just a great set of boots you can get really early inside your playthrough. True Soul Nair inside the Grimforge drops these if you kill him, or if you find his dead body. Again, though, because you have spells and you already have Misty Step with your actual spells, this isn't needed, and I would say give this to someone else in your team. But if you're going solo, I mean, why not use it? Alright, so we are going to get the jump on the enemies now. I wanted to showcase why I like the invisibility helmet or using Umbral Shroud. Both will make you go invisible, and they're both used once per short rest. So I'm going to go with the helm. This is going to take my action away, but if you take a look, like legit nobody can see me now. So I could straight up run right here, and no one can, like, they can't see me at all, which is really nice. I'm just going to end my turn, let them move, and then on my next turn, I'm going to open up on people and get the surprise. Alright, so now we have all the targets pretty much in our view. I might not get the surprise on her, but I for sure will get it on these targets. Maybe that one in the back. Either way, these guys right here, they're going to die. So I have a 75% chance to hit him and 84% chance to hit the other one. If I go to my passive to turn Great Weapon Master All In off and go to attack, you'll see that the hit rate is up significantly more. But I want the extra damage, that's why it's nice to have. So that's what we're going to do. And you can see it said enemy is surprised, so they're not going to get to go, and I am. And now I can just straight up attack him from here because he's within my range because of the halberd extra reach. It's a guaranteed crit. You can see it did a ton of damage. I could choose to paralyze him and take him out of the match. There's really no need. I'm just going to use my sneak attack critical instead. And it did 28 damage. So if you take a look at the damage from that, you had the 50 damage alone just from the opening, plus the 2 acidic, and then the sneak attack was another 28. So that was 80 damage from one attack right there alone. I have my bonus attack that I can use right here to finish him off. Also guaranteed crit because he was surprised. This target here, as you see, is not surprised because they weren't near the other enemies. She also wasn't surprised, but that's okay because I am still going to whoop her ass as well. So now I am going to use my paralyzing critical on her. That way she's paralyzed, so all my attacks that attack her will be a 100% chance to hit and a guaranteed critical. And that's because of paralyzed, which is why I really like that neck piece. She's the strongest enemy out of all these in my opinion because she can rage. So that's why I'm using it on her. And she's gone. So I could choose to action surge and attack that enemy up there. Or I could straight up run this way, get out of his line of sight, and end my turn instead. Now I had this guy here, which is fine because I want to go after him anyway. I don't want the caster to get big damage on me though. Alright, so now I can run up. It says she's out of my range. Like, oh, that really sucks. Do I jump up there? No, I can't jump. She's a little too far. And you know what's funny is all this damage is without my elixir of giant hill strength. If I had the elixir of giant hill strength on, that would be another +4 to my chance to hit and damage numbers, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and just Misty Step to get back here. And let's finish this person off. So that was with the sneak attack damage, acidic, and regular damage. She's dead. I'm out of bonus actions, but that's okay. You can see this other guy's super far away. So I'm just going to run up. I could hide, but I kind of want him to come out to attack me, and I'm going to end my turn. And he can hit me with magic missiles, so if I wanted to avoid all damage, I could have stayed up on the ship. But I wanted to get in range to actually hit him on my turn. And now he's straight up just going to get obliterated. And I one-shot him with my crit. So, I mean, when you crit, you average about 80 damage with the sneak attack, sometimes more. It's really fun. And that's pretty much how you play this build. You want to get the opening on people so you can get the guaranteed crits from being an assassin. You definitely want to play smart. You're not invincible, even though you do have 22 AC this build. And you do have your reaction. So if I take a look at my reactions, your passive uncanny dodge, I mean, this is really nice because you can choose to take half damage, but even still, I mean, I don't want to die. And once you start fighting some of the like end game bosses and just mobs, they do hit a lot harder. So having that uncanny dodge, in my opinion, is a huge lifesaver. If you're playing with friends, for sure let them know you want to open. Even if you have to open with your ranged attack to get the surprise on someone, it is 100% worth it because as an assassin, if you surprise the enemy, you get your bonus action and your action restored at the start of combat. So it's definitely worth it in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.